Lubabalo, I mean, you've had quite a busy day covering that story, but tell us, I mean, we spoke to you at lunchtime and we heard the drivers' grievances. They said that they're not backing down. It's a 2-day standoff. What are they saying now?
Well, Fifi, the story is still the same. Apparently, Uber did send the head of security to take the memorandum from the workers, which is something that the drivers are also not happy about at this point, saying that Uber is actually undermining them and not actually paying attention to their grievances, which is what happened the last time, which is 2 weeks ago, when they went to drop off another memorandum, which was also taken by a security officer, you know. And we did also speak to Taxify about their side of the story with regards to this. But basically, the drivers, Fifi, are not satisfied at all. They are demanding that Uber decrease the 25% that they take off from their work, which is basically, so Uber takes 25% and the driver has 75%, and they explained in detail of how that money is divided and leaving the drivers with almost nothing, describing that per week they make about 6,000 Rand, which means roughly about 1,000 Rand a day.
I mean, how many or how long have they been trying, you know, to communicate with the management about the fact that it's getting harder for drivers to live because petrol price is going up? We've had the VAT increase. I mean, how long have they tried to communicate with management to take a little bit or less of a cut? And what has management's response been, do you think?
Well, according to them, Fifi, it's been quite a long time, and they have submitted, this is the second memorandum, and they have also been in constant engagements trying to find a solution to this, but it fell on deaf ears. And then we also spoke to the head of, in fact, the country manager for Taxify here in South Africa, who is Gareth Taylor, who spoke to us about what Taxify is doing about this. Let's have a listen.
We've been speaking with drivers about, so we had a safety summit a couple of months ago where we heard a number of issues and recommendations from drivers. We shared some of this information there. We've also had a couple of driver roundtables, as I alluded to, and every single one of those meetings that we're having with these drivers, we also speak about what can they do, and sharing this kind of information with them about what they can try to do to make things a little bit better in the future.
Now let's come into the issue of drivers who rent cars and maybe drivers who are driving for other Taxify, registered vehicle owners, in terms of statements and building a record for them. That was one of the issues that the drivers raised this afternoon.
We send it to both drivers and owners. It depends on when they register, whether it's the owner's details that they want it or whether it's the driver's details and who it gets sent to. So when the driver comes in, they actually select, does this information get sent to the driver or does it get sent to the owner?
How are your regulations structured in terms of that particular area?
So we're a driver-focused business. So yes, there are individuals who are renting out these vehicles, but in the same way as if I'm a landlord renting out a property, that property could be used for a liquor store owner, it could be used for a spaza shop, it could be used for anything. My business is to rent out this property. The person running the business is the actual business owner there. So if they're running a liquor store or they're running the spaza shop, they're the ones who are running that business. For us, the Taxify drivers are the business owners and the ones who are the service providers in this instance. They're renting the vehicle. So we will always prioritize drivers and make sure that communications, wherever we can, is as clear.
Now, the drivers are on strike. Let's talk about today's situation and everything on the app, specifically, maybe not everything because others are operating, like most of them are not operating today. What does this mean for you as a business?
So our platform is still running. We still have drivers who are operating on the platform, and we still have riders who are getting trips as well. So it's business as usual on the Taxify platform today.
But with what is happening right now, can you guarantee the safety of your customers?
Taxify does whatever we can to mitigate any risks with regards to riders. As I mentioned, a couple of the things that we've done before, we can also share with you some of the information of things that are coming as well in the future. We want to make the platform as safe as possible, but nowhere in the country are there any guarantees about safety. And so we want to be doing whatever we can, whatever is within our control, of ensuring that the platform is as safe as possible, both for drivers and for riders.
So for today's strike, did you receive notification from the drivers that they'll be delivering some sort of a memorandum?
We've been engaging with the drivers for the last couple of weeks. We received and signed for a memorandum 2 weeks ago. In speaking with the public order police and police last week, after telling them and informing them that we have been speaking with the drivers and the representative bodies and that we've been engaging, that we've received the memo already, the police saw, hey, there's no real point for the drivers to be delivering a memorandum, and as a result, they shouldn't be protesting at Taxify's offices today. However, they were given permission to protest at other offices.
Well, of course, that was the response of Taxify, Lubabalo, and you were speaking with one of the striking workers in Sandton today. They're listening in on this conversation.
Yes.
Take it away.
Yes. Thabisile, thank you so much for joining us. You listened to the conversation with Gareth that I heard earlier on. What is your response to this?
Listening to that conversation, it wasn't just very clear. Listen, our demands are very clear and very simple. You know, Gareth must not come here and patronize us and tell us that it's business as usual. This is business as usual for him with exploitation and not guaranteeing our safety. How can he come live on national TV and say he cannot guarantee the safety of their drivers? He came to us with this app. He sold us a business model that says you can make up to 8,000 Rand a week, and that's what we bought into. So he sold us a lie. So now let him prove that drivers are happy. Let Taxify prove that people are making 8,000 Rand a week. Because I can guarantee you now, the most you are making now, if you are spending the right amount of time on the road, which is about an average of about 10 to 14 hours on the road, you are then coming in at 6,000 Rand. Right. So the safety is a safety issue that is coming from Taxify because a vast of their clients are cash riders and there's no notification to say that they are cash riders. When it comes to him saying he's opened the doors with the representatives of these organizations to negotiate around him, yes, he did give us that opportunity. But when we later on went back to him and said, listen, Gareth, you can't say you are going to negotiate with us, but then still allow other things that are affecting our price to go on in the background. Because number one, we are crying about the minimum percentage that he's taking and the minimum increase that we want. And he then carries on to drive, to keep adding on new drivers, one. Number two, they're adding new cars on the platform every day. So instead of him stopping and saying, okay, fine, let us then negotiate and hear what Estonia has to say, they are carrying on as normal. So what does that mean? That means they're not taking us seriously. And therefore, they tend to forget that we are the funders of this multi-million rand business that they are running.
For sure. Tabi, so allow me to jump in there. My name is Fifi. I mean, as you're well aware, the petrol price is something that Uber or even Taxify can't control. It's controlled by external factors like what's going on in major oil-producing countries and even what our currency is doing. So I'm trying to understand. Hold on. I'm trying to understand. Tabi, so I'm trying to understand what an ideal situation is that you're looking for. You're complaining about the amount of money that they're taking, the 25%. So what percentage would be more ideal for Uber to take?
20%. We understand that they don't have control over the oil prices. However, they have control over the prices that they charge the riders. Because number one, these companies expect a certain standard of a vehicle to operate in their cars. That means you need to make sure that you're servicing your vehicle at every 15,000 at a reputable dealer. You need to keep taking your car every year to DECA to make sure that it's done. So where do they think that money is coming from? Cars are expensive on our cars. And the amount of cars that are on the road versus the demand, they do not match.
Well, then how do you respond to an Uber saying that ultimately, you know, they have provided you a platform to make an income for yourselves and your family? If you're not happy with the income that you are making, then perhaps you should go and find an opportunity whereby you will be happier with the amount that you're taking home.
That's why we're embarking on the shutdown, because they sold us a business model that says you can make 8,000 Rand a week. And there is no way you're making 8,000 Rand a week with the amount of cars that they keep flogging onto the system. And at the cost of living versus the cost of living versus the cost of maintaining the vehicles that we keep running.
Then Tabi, so where to from here? Because we've heard a response from Taxify and Uber as well on a statement. Where to from here?
Look, 48 hours, we want an answer to tell us what you're going to do to make this thing better and to actually give us a response. If not, we're embarking again on a shutdown and a tool down. And this time, like we're saying, we're going to encourage, like we've been encouraging drivers and partners, to be offline. And then that's what we're going to keep doing until we hear a response. If it means that this needs to come to a standstill, then it's going to come to a standstill.
Just Tabiso, one more question, then we close this interview off. We saw your comrades today not participating in the strike, but working. And Taxify has indeed admitted that in the morning and even now, there are still people that are operating. What are you going to do about that particular situation? And can you guarantee our safety as customers?
Sorry, I lost you there. You need to repeat the question.
I'm saying we saw your comrades working this afternoon and in the morning, and Taxify has admitted that there are people that are working. Can you guarantee our safety as customers?
Yes, we can guarantee your safety as customers. You are safe in our cars. That much we can guarantee you. There will always be people that are working because remember, we're dealing with about a group of 10,000 drivers alone in Johannesburg, and that's what we are doing, to mobilize everybody so we reach into every corner of Johannesburg.
Okay, Tabiso, thank you so much. Well, Fifi, as we heard from our conversation, Tabiso Sitole, who's a driver for the app-based operations, telling us their side of the story. Well, we'll have to wait and see, but what we saw today was really not a pleasant sight of us as customers having to make alternative plans when we are already inside a ride, but we are told that we cannot continue with that. So I don't know how or when we're going to get or see a solution in that regard, but we'll certainly be tracking that story.